guys, today I'm going to show you and compare the GPM universal shafts to the Tamiya universal shafts. Not a quality comparison, but a functionality comparison as to the geometry of them and so on. They both work well, there's not a problem there, but if you want certain things, you got to go with the one that works the best, right? So here goes. So if you take a look at the GPM version, it's pretty thick over here. It looks like it's well made, it's well machined, it turns really well. And then we look at the Tamiya one. Again, very well made. Spins very nicely. But look at the thickness here. Now this is what I want to point out today. This section here is what's the most important part of the universal that goes on the CC01 and the CC01 type steering block. Now have a look at the GPM. Now the pivot point of the GPM model is underneath this coil here. Now this coil is what stops the shaft from coming out. If you look carefully, you'll see it's not aligned with the axis of the steering knuckle, which is here. And you can see the screws here. So this should be here. I'll show you why after. So that's the GPM version. This is the Tamiya one. You can see that the pivot, the universal shaft pivot, is in line with the axis of the steering knuckle. Now this pivot point is pretty important when it comes to steering because it determines what happens to your axle when you're actually steering the vehicle. So I'm going to put these together with the carriers and I'll show you why. This is the GPM one installed with the carrier. It's a bit hard to maybe explain or see. I'm going to try and show you what the difference is. So you can see while I hold the axle centered at the bottom of the opening, you can see that it deflects. Now I'm not moving it with my finger, it's doing that on its own. So while the GPM does the job, it's doing it with some deflection, and obviously it's a bit cheaper than the Tamiya part. In my opinion, I think the Tamiya will last longer because it's not getting deflected as much, or at all for that matter. You can see here, I'm pretty much holding it centered. Well, it's actually me moving. It's kind of hard to do both actions at once. So there's a little tiny bit of deflection, but that's fine. So all in all, they both do the job. But if you're like me and you want to go and get the maximum possible steering, then you're going to have to use the Tamiya ones. Otherwise, the GPM model works just fine. So that's about it. You got any questions? Let me know. Let me know if you actually understood this. Get back to me, see if you got this point, and keep on RCing.